So I was hoping to do your story justice. We could run it back as early as you can remember. And you can tell us a little bit about what it sounded like to be Yamus before Yamus had any control over the sounds around him.
Um, that's an interesting one. My mom never really into music. My dad was a rock and roll guy, loved AC/DC and lead and all that kind of stuff. I would say my music started with Lil Wayne, early Kanye. That was like,
How did
what
you?
was
So how did
playing.
you discover that?
How did I discover it? In my elementary school, we used to have at lunchtime, we made one of the classrooms this like dance classroom where people would like have dance offs and like we'd bring CDs in and play music on this little like CD player they had and stuff. And pretty much I was assigned with the task of making a CD with the songs that would be played every lunch. And I pretty much scoured the internet as a young kid looking for the most popular songs on, I guess, what was then maybe the beginning of YouTube.
What do you know? What year this
Um,
was, or around what time frame?
Let me see. What's the age here? Let's say 10, 2008,
Okay. So in 2008,
2000.
you're about 10 years old,
Yeah.
and somehow you become the music curator of an elementary school dance club.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. That's how it kind of ran down. and and I was just looking on YouTube for the most popular, what was on the radio, whatever I could find, and I culminated, a CD of, I don't even know how, 12 or 13 mixed of Kanye's "How Could You Be So Heartless." I don't know.
Mm.
I don't remember what the album name was, but
808s and
back
heartbreaks.
then, yeah, um, and all that stuff, and since then I became like addicted to YouTube and listening, and it wasn't all hip hop or rap. It was any music. I loved, girl artists singing and guys and rapping and everything pretty much. CeeLo Green, Selena Gomez, Black Eyed Peas, Kanye West, like it was anything. Any music that sounded good to me, I was into. It came on my iPod and it went everywhere with me pretty much.
Yo, that's super cool answer to start this off. So just so you know, we're gonna take all the time in the world to still go into this because for you, this might be a little bit matter of fact. But part of the reason the show is called Bridge the Gap is because there's lots of gaps that need to be bridged, and one of them is this, in my opinion, misconception that younger people didn't do their due diligence and homework throughout music. Part of that is because there was no fucking YouTube when I was 10, right? So we have the radios and the tapes and the Columbia houses and the music videos. And depending on how old we are, there's a different part of the grind. But I can tell you something, it wasn't until 2006 or 2007 where we all got YouTube that most of us really were able to go beyond who was like super into it and went through all these grueling efforts and shit. But you basically started your life as far as music is concerned with this dance club that fosters a reason for you to scour the internet, and secondarily you became a curator at fucking like 10 years old for a whole dance thing. Did you guys do like contests or like shows and stuff, or was it just like, tell us a bit
Well,
more about that?
it's like it wasn't any. I wouldn't call it anything serious. We pretty much split the. We had rooms that were kind of sectioned for smaller classes, and we pretty much used the rooms that had the least amount of desks and stuff, get them out of the way. And we had some kids that were um, pretty acrobatic, doing backflips and breakdancing, and like with YouTube came trends, dance trends, and it started, somewhere around Soldier Boy Crank That,
I
where
love that song.
everybody's doing the whole move. So it was people kind of letting loose, enjoying music. When I went to a Jewish elementary school, we had prayers in the morning. Uh, it was a longer day than most schools. I think it was like 7 to 4:30
Mm.
when usually elementary schools ended at like 2. So it was long days, and it was nice to relax at any chance you got. And people loved music, and it was, YouTube was brand new. People were like, music videos were brand new. Dancing was, the thing to do then. And it was just a fun thing we did. And yeah, I got to lead it a little bit.
No, but that's still incredible. So, because it's interesting that you say it, just because music wasn't necessarily such a prevalent force in your household, and usually people either have this like super strong presence of music or like a complete absence, and then circumstance brings them into it. So it sounds to me like there wasn't a lot going on in your life musically until kind of school brought it into your world. Is what I'm understanding from the situation. Uh,
Yeah, pretty much. And that was like the beginning. Pretty much leaving elementary, I started drum lessons.
so before we do the
And
leaving elementary, were you into drawing or anything like that when you were super young?
uh yes and no. I had weird kind of obsessions with like art. I did art classes every Friday for two 2 years in elementary school, doing painting classes, just fun little things, stools and stuff like that, with a family friend. And I like to draw flags. I would copy, like, I'd take a dictionary and I'd open it up to the flag pages at the beginning, and I'd draw flags during school. That was like pretty much the most art I could do.
I respect the shit out of that. I think I've done the flag thing myself personally. Um, so were you also a dancer or were you just a music curator DJ dude?
I didn't dance at lunch. I'm not, and it's odd I say this because it's funny. I did like some sort, like, I don't know why they do this, but they call fashion shows sometimes, like dance shows, fashion shows. I don't know if you've ever heard of that when it
Yeah.
comes to like younger people. So,
Yes.
anyways, I actually did that one year, and my sister ran fashion shows for her school and for the local Jewish community for a bunch of years. So I was kind of like in that area. I never considered myself a good dancer, so I wouldn't say I was ever dancing out in public. That's for sure.
Were y'all involved with the Jewish community growing up?
Yeah. Very. I mean, I went to Jewish elementary school. My sister went to Jewish high school. I went to synagogue for the holidays with my grandfather, and I had my bar mitzvah, and we all did. And yeah, I mean, if I don't know if you know, you live there, so DDO is a pretty well known Jewish community, and all my friends from childhood are pretty much
Mm.
mostly all Jewish, and that's pretty much the whole world I grew up around. And my mom was a volunteer for CJD and the school and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty well involved.
That's fair. Somewhere in the ballpark of 2009, 2010, I was dating a Jewish lady and got ingratiated into the dollar Jewish community for a little bit. I discovered that at Purim you can get blackout drunk and it's cool. Um, to my chagrin, is I got blackout drunk and it wasn't cool. Um, but like, that's cool. Like, I'm Jewish, but did not grow up with the Jewishness, so it was more a completely different experience. So something I did see is how tight knit that community is. So it's interesting that you were a part of it, and by being a part of it, it ended up creating this ecosystem where off the jump you're music curating and getting some leadership experience, so that it created that environment that fostered it. I just think it's nifty that it went down like that.